All right, Bush, we are here with a songwriter who has been honing her craft for quite a while, building that credibility as a songwriter, scored herself a major label track, has even had a track chart #1 on the Australia music country charts over on iTunes. And it was about time that she released some of her own music herself. We speak today with Lydia Sutherland. How's it going today, Lydia?
I'm great. How are you?
Ooh, having myself a beautiful day. Very excited to jump into things here today.
So excited. That was quite the intro.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you joining me here today. And of course, I mentioned your time as a songwriter and the time that you spent honing your craft. From what I can see, in the last 2 years alone, you've written over 800 songs, which is more than a song a day. So that's like pretty intense. So over this time, this years of writing for other artists, of building your abilities, at what point did it finally get to the moment where I need to release my own music?
I guess it's weird because when I write for others, automatically after, I know it's a them song. But there's some stories I bring in that are too personal and hit too close to home that I'm like, I have to release this and speak my truth. So I guess I've always wanted to be an artist first, but it's just during this past year and over the pandemic that I realized how important songwriting was for me. Um, but yeah, it's when I like we're building up to a concept EP right now. So it's when I got the first idea for the title track of the EP that I decided it was time to start releasing my own.
Ooh, so for your own idea, it was a concept that you were going with first here then.
Yeah. I had no idea I guess I've always wanted to share my stories and be as authentic as I could, no filter. But it's important for me to share the process. Like right now, what we're doing is we released Love Me First, which was like a body image, self-confidence song, which is also always something like I've struggled with and now Date a Friend, which is also like super personal story. So we're just building up to that concept, which I can't talk about yet, but I'm so excited because everything ties in the end, it's going to make sense.
So even though it's a concept EP, which normally is like a storytelling idea, it still has a lot of personal stories involved inside of it.
Yeah. It's basically like the whole process of like switching from a teen to like your young adult life. So like everything you can think of that you went through, I'm writing about.
Wow. So, with having so many songs written over time, are some of these tracks some that you've had from time that you've taken and just sort of reworked, or are these all new songs for the concept?
They're all new songs. So the oldest one, I guess, would be the title track of the EP, which I wrote just a year ago. So that's like the first one that we wrote. But I guess to keep it more personal and like to be authentic as I go, um, I'm writing about stuff I'm going through right now. So it's like super honest and just super, I don't know, it's easier to promote something that you're going through than something that's, super old and over done with. But yeah, they're new songs. Date a Friend I wrote in February.
Wow. All right. So, keeping it nice and fresh here on it. So, I would love to dive into some of these tracks, of course, and who has been helping you to bring them to life. So you mentioned your first single there with Love Me. So before we dive into the track itself, I want to know, so after all of this time, what was it finally like to have that first single out into the world?
It was so stressful, but I was so excited. I think it's because sometimes my stories are so personal and I'm still going through them, which is amazing. It's got that super positive side, but it's also very stressful because it's basically like a page out of my diary and it's letting people into my trauma and my issues. And it's just like, here you go. This is me. Um, so I was super nervous, but the reception was so good. And I'm so excited that people connected with the song. So Yeah, it was super stressful, but I'm very, very happy.
Well, very glad to hear that because yes, it's music is therapy and it can help us get through our emotions. But yes, definitely putting something out into the world, especially that first one, can be very imposing, especially when it's your own emotions that go into it.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. And of course, you mentioned the body positivity aspect of this track, which is something that definitely a lot of people would be able to connect with because sometimes we can be our own harshest critic, even if the things that we're saying to ourselves aren't true.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I thought it was so important to hit that other side. I feel like my whole life people have been telling me you have to love yourself before anybody else can. And it's a great quote. I will give it that. But the thing is that it's also something that's stuck in the back of my mind and stopped me in so many situations before and like relationships. But when I met this one guy, changed everything for me. So I thought it was important to tell my side.
And I really like how you mentioned that because it is something that you hear a lot of is exactly that quote of, oh, you have to love yourself first. But at the same time, you have to find someone who's willing to love you for you.
Yeah. I feel like no matter what you're going through, you're worthy of love, right? So little things along the way won't stop the right person from loving you right.
Exactly, exactly. So very true. And I'm glad that you were able to experience a moment with somebody that was able to show you that beauty.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So when it comes to the studio aspects here, who's helping you to bring these songs to life? And of course, with the nature of the last year, have you been sort of doing the home studio thing and sending files, or how is everything working?
I record in Calgary with Spencer Teen and Justin Cutting, who are two of my really good friends, and I'm obsessed with them. They're amazing. I traveled. We did all this very safely, but I did travel to Calgary to record these songs. The first batch, I think it was in February that I did. Um, but yeah, the studio experience was amazing. Uh, I met the guys over the pandemic on Zoom. I wrote with Spencer for the first time. And as soon as I wrote with him for the first time, I was like, oh my God, like this is my producer. They both have such a great vision for my tracks. And because they were my first singles, like we had no idea what the sound would be. I know what I like and I knew like the kind of genre I wanted to go for, but I also feel like the sounds I wanted to mix haven't been done on country. So I had to find people who understood that and weren't scared to like push the boundaries a bit and maybe shake things up. So yeah, it was really amazing.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that they helped to unlock this next chapter towards this debut. And of course, we do get one more taste of the EP as of the recording. Well, we're actually recording before the song releases, but this episode will release the day of the song releasing. So we're going to jump into your new single, Date a Friend. Ooh, October 22nd. Awesome. So take us a little bit behind this track here, because definitely, is it just exactly what the title describes it as? Is just that dating a close friend?
Yes, pretty much. It's I guess the other side of dating a friend. I wrote this song with two of my close friends and two of my closest collaborators who at this point know my stories and know my life just as well as I do. They knew all about this experience, I guess. At the time I wrote Date a Friend in February, my best friend and I had just broken up and I was so scared that I've never been through that before. And I didn't want to lose him, but I also like didn't know how I could be his friend after that. So my mind was easily taken over like the what ifs and the like you shouldn't have done it. And so I went into the right that day with Robin and Chris and I said like, don't date a friend. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. I wouldn't do it twice. And we're like, but Lydia, like you really liked him and it was worth it for a while. Like it was really special. And I was like, yeah, that's fair. So they wanted to hit the other side of it and say why you should date a friend, which I thought was super interesting at the time. And I did it very reluctant. Like I was like, I wasn't sure. But we wrote the song, and I know the song says don't date a friend, but the whole concept of it is don't date a friend if you don't want it to be easy. And if you don't want it to be the most special freaking feeling ever, because you won't have two relationships like that. So that's kind of the story behind Date a Friend and how it came about.
That's really interesting, where it's like you came in right away with just like, nah, this is how I feel. And it's like, okay, but like, how about how you felt like a week ago or a month ago or whatever else? And it's like, okay, there is definitely two sides to the story, two sides to an experience. And no relationship lasts forever. Not every relationship lasts forever. Some are meant to just help us grow, and then we grow from there.
Yeah. And that song really helped me process and made me want to work on my friendship after. So I thought it was important to write that side because I've heard a lot of songs saying don't do it. So I wanted to write one, so I should.
Awesome. And then, like you said, also sort of gave you that value of realizing that the friendship was still potentially worth holding on to and still worth it, even though maybe there was a little bit of trials and tribulations along the way.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's the way it goes with any love story, but
yeah,
anything worth doing, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, of course, we have mentioned that both of these tracks come to us off of an upcoming EP. You've mentioned that it's a concept, but of course, we don't want to give away too much. But what else can you potentially let us know about this upcoming project?
Well, through every single I release, there is a hint to the next single. So in every cover art or in every whatever graphic I release, you like, if you look, now I can talk about it, but if you look in Love Me, you see that I'm wearing a best friend necklace. And so if you look in the Date a Friend cover art, I'm wearing half of that necklace because I lost my best friend after dating him. So like, and through every single that I release, there's a hint, and there is in the Date a Friend cover art as well, leading up to the next.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
She's Nancy Drew. She is.
A lot of thought put into this. I really, really like that, where you actually like have to think about it. And like now you're going to have people like looking through it and be like, is the song called this? Like, is it curly because like your hair, or like there's one curl in your hair? Does that reference anything?
Literally me reading into things, my overthinking every day. Yeah, well, it's very fun. I'm a big Taylor Swift fan, and she is the queen of like Easter eggs and like putting hints and stuff like that. So I wanted to kind of do a spin-off on that. But yeah, you the one in Date a Friend is pretty obvious. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. All right. Well, people will have to keep their eyes open, and then as soon as the next single goes, they're gonna what? It was so obvious.
Oh, for sure.
Awesome. So, of course, we've mentioned the difficulties of recording through the last year, and that's made releasing and hyping music a little bit difficult as well. So, what are some of the things that you've been trying to do to make sure that this music reaches as many ears as it possibly can, since you can't really tour or play as many live shows as you might potentially would have done otherwise?
Yeah. I guess I've just been working on my networking. I guess it's all about that, right? After like spending the last year and writing with over like 200 artists all across the world, it makes it a little easier in that aspect. I'm still like figuring stuff out as I go because I am a new artist. I am independent and releasing this on my own as of right now. But yeah, I've just been trying to talk to as many people and just share my truth too, because I feel like that's what fans want. They want authenticity and no filter. And I feel like that's the easiest way to reach people nowadays with the whole like TikTok scene and everything coming in, like just being honest and speaking your truth. So that's kind of what I've been doing, but still figuring it out as I go.
For sure. It's a constantly adapting scene as well. So it's is always sort of figuring out what's new with everything too.
Sometimes hard to keep up, but we're here.
Exactly. Making the best of it, right? So you've mentioned the visual aspects of album artwork and otherwise as well. Is there any plans for maybe a music video potentially in our future or otherwise?
Yes, I am planning. I have a few acoustic videos that are going to drop with the next few singles, but there is a bigger music video that will come with the title track. Once again, very thought through, but we're going to see every single in that music video. So every story is going to be in the last music video, the bigger one.
Ooh, okay, so connecting the theme together. All right.
It's going to make so much sense, I promise, once it's out.
People are going to be yeah, we talked about how people are going to be like, oh my god, it was so obvious for this. People are going to be watching the music video and being like, oh my god, there's what, oh, everything is here. Oh.
Steven Spielberg.
And then hints towards the next EP. What?
Probably, to be honest. It's not through yet, but good idea.
Well, we'll see what the future holds. I'm sure beautiful things for sure. Awesome. All right. Well, I've had a blast chatting so far with you today here, Lydia. I have one last question. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Awesome. So we've talked about this growth into being your own artist, taking this solo adventure, finally releasing your own music out into the world, building this concept EP. What I would like to know now is through the past 2 years here, this past year and a half, how has this time helped you grow as a person, or what has it taught you about yourself?
That's an amazing question. I guess being stuck inside my house for a year, pretty much. I didn't really know what to do. I was a little discouraged. I'm not going to lie. I've always been writing my whole life, but I didn't think that was my purpose until last year. When I started connecting with people over Zoom and just from all across the world and writing for their projects, it literally changed my life. I mean, it gave me a brand new purpose. I worked a lot on myself I guess I was a very anxious person. I was scared in social situations and I really stepped out of my comfort zone and I met like 3 to 4 new people a day and I was sharing my stories openly, which is like in no filter, which is something I never thought I'd have the courage to do. So yeah, I mean, a lot of things changed for me. I'm now aiming more of the songwriter route than the artist route, which is very different. Even though I am releasing my own project because it is very special and personal to me. But yeah, I guess it really made me realize who I was. And I was really holding back before that. I wasn't exploiting myself, I guess, to my full potential. But now I'm definitely more ready and just diving in, all in.
Wow. All right. I love that answer. Wow. Opening up to the world. And like you mentioned earlier, listeners want honesty out of their music. So to reach that point, to be honest, to have that vulnerability is very, very powerful. And I thank you for sharing not only that lesson with us, but also this tale of this upcoming EP and this latest track, Date a Friend, with us here today on the DTP.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.